Alex Eala and Felix Auger-Aliassime just walked into one of the most intriguing mixed doubles matchups at the US Open and delivered exactly the kind of performance their fans were hoping to see. The 21-year-old Filipino star and her Canadian partner entered as a wildcard team, facing Elina Svitolina and Gaël Monfils, a married couple with years of experience at the highest levels of professional tennis. On paper, Svitolina and Monfils had everything you would expect from a dangerous pairing: experience, athleticism, Grand Slam pedigree, and the natural chemistry of two people who know each other better than almost anyone. But once the match got underway, Eala and Auger-Aliassime showed why mixed doubles can be so unpredictable. They brought aggression, energy, and a willingness to attack immediately, turning their debut into a statement and giving the crowd another reason to get behind what fans have started calling the Eala effect. This was never going to feel like an ordinary opening round match. Svitolina is a former world number 3 with deep Grand Slam experience, including semi-final appearances at Wimbledon and the US Open, while Monfils has spent years as one of the most entertaining personalities in men's tennis. His incredible athleticism, improvisational shot-making, and ability to turn almost any rally into a highlight have made him a fan favorite around the world. Put those two together, and you have a mixed doubles team that naturally attracts attention. But Eala and Auger-Aliassime arrived with something equally important: momentum and confidence. Eala's breakthrough season had already changed expectations surrounding her career, while Auger-Aliassime brought his powerful serve and years of experience competing on major stages. Instead of treating their wildcard as simply an opportunity to enjoy the occasion, they approached it like they belonged there. Their partnership also had an interesting connection before they ever walked onto the court together. Both players have ties to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. Eala spent an important part of her development there, learning within one of tennis's most demanding environments, while Auger-Aliassime has worked with Tony Nadal, Rafael Nadal's uncle and longtime coach. That doesn't automatically create doubles chemistry, but it does mean the two players come from overlapping tennis influences. They understand aggressive positioning, disciplined point construction, and the importance of competing for every ball. In a format where there's almost no time to figure things out slowly, that familiarity can make a difference. And the US Open mixed doubles format makes quick chemistry especially valuable. The event uses a condensed structure designed to create fast-moving matches and immediate pressure. The opening sets are shorter than traditional 6-game sets, and a match tiebreak can decide everything if the teams split those sets. That changes the psychology completely. In a normal singles match, losing an early service game doesn't necessarily spell disaster. You may have plenty of time to work your way back. In this format, one bad game can put an entire set in danger. That meant Eala and Auger-Aliassime needed to start aggressively. And stylistically, the combination made sense. Auger-Aliassime gives the team a major first-strike weapon with his serve. When he's hitting his spots, opponents immediately find themselves defending. Eala, meanwhile, brings aggressive baseline instincts and a left-handed game that can create different angles from the back of the court. Mixed doubles is often about disrupting patterns. If opponents get comfortable, experienced players such as Svitolina and Monfils can take control quickly. Eala and Auger-Aliassime needed to keep the points uncomfortable, and their contrasting weapons gave them a way to do exactly that. But there was another element nobody inside the stadium could ignore: the crowd. Auger-Aliassime had already seen the support surrounding Eala during the North American summer. Before the event, he joked about the fact that although Eala was younger, she was the one bringing the enormous fan base. Now he had the chance to experience that support from the same side of the net. Philippine flags appeared throughout the stands, supporters called Eala's name, and what could have been a neutral mixed doubles matchup began feeling much more personal. For Filipino tennis fans, Eala's rise has become about far more than rankings. Every major tournament provides another opportunity to see a Filipino athlete competing against the biggest names in a global sport. That feeling becomes even stronger in cities with large Filipino communities. New York is exactly that kind of place. When Eala competes there, she doesn't necessarily feel thousands of miles away from home. The flags, chants, signs, and familiar voices create their own version of home court advantage. That support has followed her elsewhere too. According to the source material, Eala attracted significant attention during tournaments in Canada, Cincinnati, Washington, and other stops on the tour. Her coach, Joan Bosch, has described encountering Filipino fans traveling from city to city simply to watch her play. Whether it's a smaller court or one of tennis's biggest stages, the pattern has become increasingly recognizable. When Eala is scheduled, Filipino supporters show up, and Eala has made a point of acknowledging them. Throughout her rise, she has thanked Filipino supporters and embraced the connection with the country she represents. That relationship matters because fans can tell when an athlete recognizes what their support means. A flag in the stands becomes more than decoration. A chant becomes more than noise. For Filipino communities living overseas, an Eala match can become a gathering point. A few hours when strangers suddenly feel connected because they're all cheering for the same player. That was the emotional backdrop to this mixed doubles debut. But emotion alone doesn't win tennis matches. Against Svitolina-Monfils, Eala and Auger-Aliassime still had to execute. They needed to protect their service games, attack second serves, communicate around the middle of the court, and remain composed whenever momentum threatened to swing. Experienced players are especially dangerous in short formats because they understand how valuable the pressure points become. Give them one opening and an entire set can disappear. That's what makes the performance significant within the story supplied here. Eala and Auger-Aliassime didn't simply enjoy the occasion. They found a way to turn their strengths into a winning combination. Auger-Aliassime's serve gave them immediate offense. Eala's baseline aggression allowed her to pressure returns and exchanges from the back. Their energy complemented each other, and the crowd responded whenever they seized momentum. For Eala, it represented another important step in a season already filled with milestones. She entered New York after a breakthrough stretch that had pushed her rapidly upward in the rankings and strengthened her reputation as one of the tour's exciting young players. Each new stage now comes with greater expectations. She's no longer walking into tournaments with everyone asking, "Who is this player?" Increasingly, opponents know exactly who she is, and that changes everything. Once you become a recognizable threat, players study your tendencies. Coaches analyze your preferred serving locations. Opponents know which side you like to attack from and where you tend to go under pressure. The challenge becomes proving that your breakthrough wasn't temporary. Mixed doubles offers a different test, but it can still reveal something important about a player's competitive instincts. You're forced to adapt to another person's game, communicate constantly, make decisions quickly, and deal with unfamiliar tactical situations. For a young player, those experiences can be valuable even beyond the doubles court. For Auger-Aliassime, meanwhile, playing beside Eala gave him a front-row seat to the fan phenomenon he had previously watched from the outside. He knew she had support. Hearing that support while standing beside her is something else entirely. And that's part of what makes this pairing so entertaining. He brings established star power and a huge serve. She brings a rapidly rising profile, left-handed aggression, and one of the most passionate emerging fan bases in tennis. Their personalities and styles don't have to be identical. In doubles, differences can actually make a partnership harder to read. Now comes the obvious question: how far can they go? One impressive performance creates excitement, but tournament tennis doesn't give anyone much time to celebrate. The next matchup brings a new tactical problem, and the deeper you advance, the stronger the opposition becomes. In mixed doubles especially, the bracket can suddenly put you across the net from players you would almost never face together during the regular tour. That's part of the appeal. You can have elite men's and women's players sharing the same court, creating combinations fans normally only imagine. One point might feature a huge ATP serve followed by a WTA star ripping the return. The next might become a lightning-fast exchange at the net. There's less rhythm and more improvisation. For Eala and Auger-Aliassime, maintaining their run would require more than crowd energy. They would have to continue serving efficiently, communicate well, and attack early. The shortened scoring means there is almost no margin for drifting mentally. 2 loose points can become a break, 1 break can become a set, and 1 tie-break can end the tournament. That pressure is exactly what makes the next round worth watching, and Eala's US Open story doesn't end with mixed doubles. The source also discusses her participation in other New York events before turning attention toward the women's singles draw, where the stakes become even higher. Singles remains the clearest measure of where she stands against the world's best players, and her rising ranking means expectations will naturally follow her onto the court. The consoling part for her supporters is that Eala is still only 21. Everything happening around her, the crowds, international attention, rankings discussion, expectations, and opportunities on major courts, is arriving while she is still developing. That means there will inevitably be difficult matches alongside the breakthroughs. Young careers rarely move upward in a straight line. Moments like this matter because they build belief. They tell Eala she can walk onto one of tennis's biggest stages, stand across from players with years of experience, and still compete without being overwhelmed by the occasion. They tell her partner that the chemistry can work, and they tell supporters that the excitement surrounding this pairing has something tangible behind it. That's why this mixed doubles story feels bigger than one result. It combines a rising Filipino star, an established Canadian player, a famous married tennis couple, a fast new format, a massive New York stage, and a fan movement that seems to become louder everywhere Eala goes. For Filipino fans watching around the world, the symbolism is impossible to miss. Philippine flags aren't appearing at these tournaments as background decoration anymore. They're increasingly attached to moments that matter, and Eala is at the center of them. Whatever happens next, the wildcard opportunity has already given fans another glimpse of what her career could become. The bigger the stage gets, the more comfortable she appears to be stepping onto it. The opponents become more recognizable, the crowds become louder, the expectations become heavier, yet she keeps moving forward. So keep an eye on Alex Eala and Felix Auger-Aliassime as this US Open story develops. The first challenge showed what their combination can look like when the serve, baseline aggression, chemistry, and crowd energy come together. The next challenge will tell us whether they can reproduce it when the pressure rises again. Could this wildcard partnership turn into one of the surprise stories of the tournament? Could Eala's New York momentum carry into an even bigger breakthrough? Or will the next elite pairing finally find a way to shut down the combination? We're about to find out. But one thing already feels clear from the story unfolding around her. When Alex Eala steps onto a court in New York, she isn't walking out there alone. Thousands of voices are coming with her, and the Eala effect is getting harder and harder to ignore.